Keenen Smith, for the Republican Party, is running for elections to the Kansas State Senate to represent District 25th, which is in the Wishita, Kansas area. He declared candidacy for the Republican primary scheduled on August 6, 2024. He is originally from Kansas, Mississippi, and he moved to Kansas with his family a couple years ago. He's a devout Christian and a business node. He also went to the U.S. Army. He served, and he wants to serve the people of Kansas. This is an interview that I did with him, and that way you can get to know more about him.
The Art of War is one. The Bible is one definitely worth reading. Because it holds the true key in the ways to life. It really does. The other books, there was a book from Pastor Tyler about relationships. Some of our key commitments in the state of Kansas right now is dependent on the relationship between husband and wife. I'm not married right now, but at the same time, I wish to be. It was a great book by Pastor Todd that I used to reflect on how to be able to deal with relationships. Well, I'll tell you this. I definitely want to be able to make sure our children, right, get the best education possible throughout the state of Kansas. And I also want small businesses throughout the state of Kansas to know that the Kansas government has their back. And we should be able to stand for those businesses and create the opportunities for families to be able to succeed here. And one most important of all, in my district, I hope to be able to champion an initiative, if not bring a bill on the floor first day, to be able to champion school choice to get that change for Kansas families. So our children can have the best choices for education and to be able to downsize some of these crowded classrooms and give teachers a competitive wage here in the state of Kansas. It's everywhere around the country. Kansas is yet to actually adopt a school choice bill because it takes power away from the government that is now the Kelly administration, and 100%, majority of the Kansas budget is spent throughout education right now. We witnessed here in Sedgwick County 6 schools closing because the school board wanted to be able to hide their mismanagement of funds, and I think that we need to audit all of our school districts here in the state of Kansas just to be able to prove to the Kansas public and the voters right here in the state of Kansas that we have a problem, not just with the finances, but also with the initiative that have started and going to end with this Kelly administration. My 3 core policies is school choice, expanding economic development, and lowering taxes. And lowering taxes. Right. The average family in the state of Kansas, man, barely can afford groceries. The hardworking middle class person in the state of Kansas barely is making a livable wage because of taxes. Right. And my question is, to some of these bureaucrats, right, that are sitting in these seats, and currently some of them in the Senate right now, right? Let me ask you a question. If your children would go without food, right? This would probably be the first initiative. This would probably be the first policy or the first initiative you actually back as a Republican. And I'll say that. That's what I would say. You know what? I really was a bit moderate about the flat tax bill that was presented this year. But when I kind of looked over it a little bit and seen how, on Bill Tracker and seeing how these bills are actually structured, I do agree to some parts of that bill. But I do want to say this, right? If we don't structure bills and policies and regulate them to the appropriateness of the modern day middle class family, right? It's never going to work for us. It's never going to work for sides of the aisle. We have to remember as future legislators and current legislators, governor, and lieutenant governor especially, and whoever's running the economic department of economics at the time, right? Whoever that is, we have to remember we're here to work for hard work in Kansas and stop taking away from our commodities that we have here. That's what I have to say about that. I definitely like to be on the agriculture committee. In my community, the most devastating thing that we have going on right now is the misappropriation of how crops are grown here in the state. And also, I'd like to be on the economics committee and the finance, because I have mostly middle class working families in my district, and they want to know where their taxpaying dollars are going to. If those taxpaying dollars are being monitored, they cannot lie to us. Right. Matter of fact, I'm actually carrying you right now. Uh, hey, listen, I'm a gun toter. I'm a gun holder. My children know, just like any Kansas family knows, and a man of their household should know we should actually implement and also educate the public on what gun safety is actually all about. You know, one of the biggest things, throughout my campaign is that I'm saying at the doors and making sure that it's very heard is we need to be able to protect our rights here when it comes to the Second Amendment. If people are allowed to be able to come in and say or do whatever they want to do with our guns, right, that's a big problem. I think that people who say we should get rid of guns never ever owned one. Yeah. You know what I mean? In a perfect world, which we don't live in, but we live in a democracy that works. And we live in a place in America where our founding fathers made it possible for us to have a right to bear arms. And anybody who's in a part of a government, right, who does not say that the Second Amendment is not for people or for Kansans needs to be out of office, man. Simply said. Just simply said. Uh, so I do not stand for abortion. I believe every human being on time of conception is meant to be born. I think that again, Republicans, I hold us just as accountable for having this initiative as we can. We need to do a better job making sure that we educate our voters here in the state of Kansas. Roe versus Wade simply stated if a person had a problem or they were raped or it was a point of, just a health problem, right? You can totally still see through to have a procedure. And that bill uh, totally protected women. I think that the left did a horrible job at making sure that they miscommunicated the message to our women here in Kansas. And I was shocked because Kansas is 19th in the nation in education, but that day it seemed like we all was a part of that downfall. We was all part of that. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think that we've accepted a lot here in America, but not here in the state of Kansas. I've witnessed Kansas stand the line time and time again to be able to stand for what is right when it comes to women's sports. Well, you know what? Here in my fair city here in Wichita, we right now going through a uh, pretty fair time with mental health, and there looks like there might be a facility being built in my district, or probably almost a day to it, in a state hospital. So I think that is a definite thing that we need to be able to refer to. You know what? We don't have a strategy. We don't have a strategy. We'll let God lead us. We want people to hear us at these doors and not just from our commercials or our digital marketing. We have no strategy at this point in time. We're letting God lead this campaign. You know, uh, yeah. This is not. You know what we know, and I want to say this to the public, right? I have no intentions of slandering or misusing or being a dominant person when it comes to this race. But what I will do is I will go to the doors and tell them about who this person is that I am running against and what they. That's right, because Kansas voters, last time we checked, we've knocked over 1,500 doors since January, just trying to get our names out there, just trying to see what voters are feeling and see what issues they have. And from what I can tell, Democrats in my district are very behooved of understanding what this really means and the work that she's already done. So that's where I'll leave that one. So I will say this, right? Um, the left has always out fundraised and out digitally responded to most conservatives here in the state of Kansas. But one thing I will tell you is I will not back down from any of these vicious, hinderous, demonic, and just plain outright nasty mailers that I've seen over the last 3 years in politics. But I will say this: I will be one of the most competitive people in the state of Kansas and also on the ballot this year, guaranteed. But I love Tim Scott. I love his model. I love the way he follows the Lord. I love the way that he actually honors himself and also demonstrates a great model of advancement. I know he just ran for president against Donald Trump. But any man who thinks he is that guy and that can do that job appropriately, right, would give themselves the benefit of the doubt, throughout their servant leadership terms. Right now, I'm focusing on running for the people in Kansas State Senate District 25. I have no other ambitious journeys or any of that stuff going on right now. I'm focusing on doing the work for people in District 25. In Kansas right now, right? We have the chance to change history right now. The most critical race in Kansas at this point in time is Kansas State Senate District 25. If there was ever an opportunity where God put Republicans at a chance for opportunity, it'll be this one. A lot of Republicans throughout the state of Kansas don't take these Senate seats and representative races and city council races and county opportunity races really seriously. We know that the governor has to be picked next year. We know there's a large opportunity for people to be able to pick a governor next year. But before we get to be able to have a Republican governor in the state of Kansas, we need to be able to do the work at the state Senate level and the state representative level that we need to do for our cities around the state of Kansas. If you just so happen, right, to believe in my message, to believe in my future, and to believe in, and to believe in my past and where I came from, and you want to be able to create opportunity for people here in the state of Kansas, just like me, the only thing you have to do is go to my website. Now, I know that the state of Kansas and the Kelly administration has always taken money from everybody that they've seen, right? But if you believe in me, donate and contribute. That's the best thing that we can do right now, and share this message to your constituents, to your voters, and the people who wear that are proud. It was a pleasure for you guys having me. Thank you so much.